Where in the hell? Oh. How's my audio, bro?
Oh, you're coming in. Lima Charlie, baby.
Broken and unreadable, huh?
How's this sound?
Yo, check out my digs, bro.
You look way too comfortable.
You know what I'm drinking?
I don't know. Are you drinking some bourbon?
Little apple sauce.
Like spicy apple juice or just like
No, it might be spicy.
THS, what's up? What's up?
Hey, hey.
Well, as we wait for people to funnel in, so I got a broadhead on this one, and we'll see how she shoots. I think I need 600 grain arrows for her, though.
600 spine.
So yeah, 600 spine. I'm sorry.
Yeah. TJ, what's the up? Brothers, how's it going? It's going pretty good. As you can see, Al is gently experimenting with his first self bow. He's shooting that's a 500 spine arrow, isn't it? Or is it an 800?
Yeah, no, it's a 500, and the 500 shoots really well. It's just if I don't have a lot of weight up front, it seems to be a little over spine. So the 600, I think, with like 150 grains up front would be perfect.
And you're estimating that particular bow is probably low 30 poundage.
I'm thinking low 30s. Yeah, that's where I'm thinking. Just comparing it to my black hunter, or I'm sorry, my Samick Sage, which is, I'm drawing about 43 with that. Maybe I'm mid 30s. I don't know. But that's what I'm going to estimate. I obviously have to upgrade the string because this has stretch in it, and putting an actual string on there will help it tremendously. I got to throw some silencers on there. I got a lot of cool stuff to do.
PvP Con, what's up? How are you? Is y'all's season over? This outdoors, yes. Today was the final day of the Maryland traditional archery season for us. So we are all out of seasons and tags unless Al decides he wants to hunt some red tag here in Pennsylvania.
I was going to say, are you sure about that?
You sure about that? For everybody that's just jumped on, we got 22 folks on a couple minutes ago. We only had about 3, but Al is shooting a bow that he built today. Did you wax it and everything already?
I did already stain and hit it with a coat of poly.
So
I
what he's
had
got,
to.
and you made this out of a piece of red oak, right?
Yeah, just a piece of red oak from Home Depot.
Yep, he's
Nothing
got about
crazy.
4.5 or 5 hours in the build, and so far so good.
I mean, we're shooting pretty good. I'm happy with it. I need to get an actual bowstring on there. This has too much vibration in it. It's too twangy.
Oh yeah.
We'll see. I mean, it has less hand shock than the Black Hunter, if you can believe that.
Al, you're crushing it, man. Ben, what's going on? Yeah, look at this trophy wall. We got a couple of them in there. We hung the bows up yesterday. Got a couple of antlers hanging. We've done a couple of lighting adjustments. We're kind of getting dialed in so that we can really make a run at this, make it look good, make it look professional. He's already going all out on that bow. Yeah, he is. Look, this is the problem with hanging out and doing Country Girl, what's up? This is the problem with hanging out with Al, TJ. This guy, he's always like 3 steps ahead of me, and I constantly play catch up. It's like being married to a woman that's 10 years younger than me. So I get from the wife.
You wouldn't know anything about that either, would you?
No, I don't know anything about that. Damn, y'all the ones that killed Bambi. Yeah, this is Bambi right here. Bambi's dad. TJ, I can't wait either, man. I heard you're coming up. Is it next Friday to do a live with us? Yeah, the
No,
raccoon's
weekend
over there.
after. Weekend after.
TJ, the raccoon is over there. It's in full effect. You see him over there. A couple of good sheds. We have a little project here. We're going to talk about this a little later. I'll give you all a preview. Oh yeah. So I'm always on the search for the next product that I think fits Pain Train goals. Have you seen the movie by Finn? No, I haven't seen the movie. Ask the most awesome thing in here. Yeah, do it. Ask it. Thanks, TJ. I love it, man. Ben's like, heck yeah. But anyway, I'm always on the search for like new products that fit the mold of Pain Train. That means it's got to be super durable. It's got to fit a certain price point, and we're trying to support other people that have the same visions that we do. I think those are the three categories that are probably most important, and I think Hang Free does that. So we'll take a look at one of their pouches here for saddle hunting in a little bit after Al shows you a couple more shots here on the bow. Then I want to get Al. You need to get a close up here.
A close up of the bow?
Yeah.
All right.
Because he's already stained it. He's already put a coat of poly on this thing. And like I said, this bow is probably less than 6 hours old.
Yeah, I just finished it up around 4 p.m. today. So, I mean, here, I mean, you can see it's nothing special. Like I don't, like I got my little groove for my hand right here. I got the shelf. Like it's really nothing special, guys. It is what it is. I'm not upset with how it came out. This is my third bow. For anybody who's keeping track, right? This is my third attempt at a bow. This is the first one that I can actually draw to full length without breaking it. So that's a win in and of itself in my books.
Ben, sorry to hear about where you're at in life, man. Hopefully you can stick with it somehow and manage to handle it all. Zach says, "Howdy, brother. It's been a while. It's been a while." Al and I really tried to finish up the season here on a bang, and we really pushed the envelope. We did a lot of hunting from the ground. Some of
We
us have had
hunted
great
hard.
success.
I mean, you hunted hard. Like I'm not going to say
Yeah.
I didn't hunt hard, but holy crap! Like it was. We didn't give up on late season. We weren't like, hey, it's cold out. We're not hunting today. It was like it's 17 degrees out. I better be out in the woods at 2 o'clock instead of 4 o'clock.
17 with a 25-mile-an-hour wind.
I mean, it was a brutal rest of the season here.
But we do owe you guys a bunch of videos. Al's constantly on me. But what I'm trying to do, we did take a little bit of a break. I've got a couple of really pressing issues here. I don't know if any of you guys know, but I'm also a federal employee. I feel like I'm going to be on the chopping block because I've only been in that position for about 13 months. I'm still in a probationary period. So I don't know how that's going to work out. I don't know if it's better for me to take a deferred resignation. So, for all the supporters out there, if you want to see me hunting and fishing year round, go ahead, give me the thumbs up in the chat if you think we can make it work. But if you have reservations and you think maybe I should stick with a traditional 9-to-5 job, go ahead and give me the thumbs down. And we'll let you guys decide what I should do. Holy huge deer, Griffin. Yeah, this is the one that I shot early season in Maryland, and it's not really that huge in comparison to the size, just the mass of this deer because it was shot in early September, compared to the one right next to it. It's small. That's a big boy right there. Well,
I mean, you and I talked about this, right? Like looking at it after the fact, especially compared to some of these other deer, like he's might be a 2.5-year-old deer, probably 3.5. Like he's still a pretty young deer.
but here's the interesting thing: if you measure from the tip of the nose all the way down the neckline to the top of the brisket, this buck here was probably it was well over 200 pounds live weight, probably 225. This one was probably only about 160 pounds. But if you measure from the tip down, this deer is 5 inches shorter, 5.5 inches shorter. It looks like a Texas buck. And maybe that's why when I first saw it, I thought, yeah, it's got to be a 140. Well, it was in velvet too, so that kind of threw me off. Bullseye says he believes in us. He thinks we can get it done. You guys are doing a good job this year. My season was terrible. It took me forever to get my doe tags filled. TJ, we did the same thing. Unique stats for Pain Train Outdoors. Al and I were just talking about this today, but we've managed to average 12 deer a year for the last 2 years, and probably 9 or 10 the year before that at least. So we're shooting at least 5 or 6 deer a piece, 7 deer a piece a year. What did he score? I'm not sure what he scores now after he's had the 60-day drying period. He was over 135 when I first measured him, and I didn't get super detailed on measuring him because I shot him in Maryland. I had to drop him off at a taxidermist, so I'll have to put a tape on him, and maybe I'll do that over the next couple days. But this one we shot early season. This one over here we shot. This is a Pennsylvania buck. I think I shot that on the 24th or the 26th of October. This one in the middle is last year's buck. So I mean, that's last year's big buck. He's a 120 something. All we're trying to do is chase some mature deer around. I think that's just the goal. I mean, we're not going to have these giants that are running around like they do out in the Midwest, but we're going to try to do the best we can. Ben says he's averaged 1 deer a year. Sorry, Ben, you got to step them numbers up. Those are rookie numbers.
I was just thinking it. I don't mean that in a bad way.
Al, are you going to put the arrow holder on and see if it's it fits Cassetta's add weight to the bow? I don't even know what I'm reading there.
Yeah, I'm not paying any attention to the chat. So if somebody says something, you're gonna have to speak up and say something.
Yeah, there's no arrow holder on these bows. We're shooting them right off the shelf. You don't even have. Do you have felt on it, Al?
No, I don't even have felt on it. And you can see like that right there is what, an 800 spine arrow. Like it shoots. It's a shooter, dude. Like for how simple it is. I mean, the brace height's probably only about 4 inches. Like it's getting some set in it. So I might try and bend the limbs a little bit with some heat. Put a little reflex into it, but other than that, like she is what she is. That's kind of the beauty of these bows, the simplicity of it. I'm very confident I could probably take this bow and go and harvest a deer with it if that's what I want to do. Which we all know that is what I want.
This is the only shed we've found so far for the shed crew out there. And it's not a bad shed.
You say we, I haven't found anything.
Now, this is only an 8-point. It's barely an 8-point with those tines. This shed here measures 52 and some change. But you can see where the main beam on that is just as long. So, I mean, this is probably a really solid 2-year-old Maryland buck. Might be a target for next year, But we haven't been out shed hunting yet. We'll maybe Saturday is the day that I'll get into that. I don't know. I've got some folks who want to get out. I know TJ would probably be interested in it. Al, he's already committed to going out and finding some big buck antlers for chasing them around next year.
I feel like my schedule is pretty much spoken for coming up here for the next month and a half. But after that, we'll be into the fishing content, which I am really excited for. I don't know about you, but I am really excited to do some fishing content here.
I'm super excited for that. Ben says he's got to take Thor out.
Thor.
Yeah, his dog, to see if he gets a shed. That's another angle on the Maryland deer, guys. Again, not super wide, but super tall. these G3s here, because the G2s, they're all split in the back. I don't know if you guys can see that, but he's actually a 12 point. But the G2s are split. Let's see if we can get it in there. See how the G2s are split there? But the G3s are just massive. I mean, they're towering. And then he comes all the way back in the front. Like, it was just a cool, like, I watched him rub out 2 days, I think.
You probably did. And then you watched the deer.
Oh, you're sick. You're a sick puppy. Hey,
Oh boy.
hey,
Something's
Drake
out.
says I'm back. Martin says he's got a pit bull that's a good shed hunter.
What is your biggest buck? I don't kill any big bucks, so I can't even talk.
Yeah, whatever.
Yo, Trad Life, welcome back, brother. Check it out. I made this bow. What up?
Sharps, what's going on, dude? Traditional life, what's up? Man, you guys got some big dogs. As far as the biggest one, this so far is probably the biggest one. This one over here also scores fairly high as far as my. Yeah, if I take this off here, he's just got massive main beams. I think those main beams are quite a bit over 22 inches. That deer was a monster. This one over here's got one more tine, so it scores about the same as that one over there, but it's got a little less mass. It's a good buck, though, too.
I think it's hard for something to beat the sentimental value of the pain train buck. Like,
It is.
Like I feel like that's where this whole adventure started for us, right? Like it's a big deal. Even that deer for me is a big deal, you know?
Well, yeah, because of the work that's involved in trying to go up there and take one off of the mountain and put it in the truck. It's a brutal feat.
Ben asked, "Am I making one for him next?" I can, Ben. We could probably work something out there, buddy.
He said, just kidding at the end.
And you know
But I
what?
think he should do it.
For Ben, I would do it for Ben. I need to know your draw length because that plays a huge factor in building these bows. Like if you have a 32-inch draw like I do, or a 31-inch draw, like it's on another level.
All right. Somebody lives in Canada. Martin says he lives in Canada. And he hunts those big 300-pound bodied whitetail. Dude, I wish I lived in Canada and can hunt some of those monsters.
I don't.
All right, Al. Jay Sharps wants to see. Look, everybody wants to see the close up, man. So you got to just show it off here, like right in front of the camera. Give us the Price is Right view.
I don't even know what that means because that show probably went out of popularity before I was born.
Give us the showcase. All right, show us the handle. You got to bring it in real close. We got to see it close. Now
So the
turn it to
handle
the
is
right.
it's nothing fancy, guys. Like it's nothing fancy at all. Like you can see I even missed some stain on there. Like it's nothing fancy. You know, honestly, if I was going to do it, I'd probably add a little bit more of a handle. I didn't do that after I broke the last bow because what that does then is it extends my draw length even more and puts more stress on the limbs. So, you know, but I mean, you can see she's nothing fancy, but I have 100% confidence this bow right here could kill a deer. Yeah.
And whitetails in Canada are just different, bro. They
Yeah,
vary.
maybe not a 300-pound whitetail, you know. It
Oh,
might be a little bit more of a struggle.
they get big up there.
Mm-hmm. You're not kidding.
Bullseye says, wrap that handle in some paracord.
Now, see, that's like a cool idea. I'll take the string off this once I get a legitimate string for it, and then just use that paracord to make a handle for it or something. Leather
Great,
would probably be
congratulations on
nicer.
a nice buck. A buck with a score of 133 is a monster. At least where we're at.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you could hunt your whole life, and maybe you'll only see 5 or 10 bucks that score that big in Pennsylvania, depending where you're at. Beer, whiskey, hunting deer. That's my kind of Tuesday. Thanks, Samuel. We appreciate it. We're glad to have you on. Mason, hello. What is up? Jay Sharps, no, that bow is not made from Osage. It's made from red oak. He bought that piece of lumber from Home Depot and fashioned that bow today in about 4.5 hours.
Yeah, it wasn't all today. I did the I got, what do they call it? I got like a floor tiller going, basically like a rough shape, and then remove some wood from the limbs. And then today I just finished it. It took me about 2 hours today. So overall, it was about 4 hours of work. Not
I'm
bad
all
though.
about happy with my bow.
I mean, it's not a bear bow, but it'll probably work when it comes time to kill a deer. So I just got to get the right arrow build for it. I got to get the right string on it, and she'll be ready.
All right, I got a question for everybody. Hey, Lisa, are you still on? Yeah, Mason, don't spam like that. They're just going to block you, man. Because then we can't read the comments when you do that. Yeah, I think a lot of Pennsylvania's deer have a tendency to have, like here's a really solid Pennsylvania shed. And I look, doesn't look like that much, It's got a thick base on it. It's meaty. And this is probably off a 3 or 4-year-old deer. But a buck like this is only going to score like 115 or maybe probably 120 because it's got some longer tines on it. Nah, probably like 115, 112, something like that. It just doesn't have the
Doesn't have the length, doesn't quite have the mass.
It's got a 16-inch main beam versus this one up here that's got a 22-inch main beam. It doesn't. And that's a big, heavy shed for a Pennsylvania deer with a split G2.
Tony, I'm going to interrupt you. Dino, on a thinner, he wants to know, he's asking about traditional recurve. He find the risers a bit bulky. Do you have any recommendations? The Black Hunter recurve, I know you shot this, Tony. The handle on it, not the overall riser per se, but the handle on it's a lot thinner, especially compared to my Samick Sage. And some of the bows, like compared to your bear bow, I would say this is a little bit thinner of a grip on there. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I just wanted to answer his question before it got.
No, that's fine because we've gotten a lot there, and I kind of got behind on the chat. So, TJ, the wife and kids are fine. AI, yes, you can definitely borrow a bow. And yeah, I have to agree with Al and what he said there about the Black Hunter. I think the Black Hunter, as far as comfort in a grip, is probably the best grip I've felt outside of. Well, here, let me show you. I have a Striker Fastback right here.
Yeah, that's got a thinner grip on it too. I forgot about that.
It has a tiny grip. So when you look at the Striker Fastback, like I have a small hand, it's not big at all. And I can get, like it just has a pretty decent palm swell on there. You can see by looking at it, it's very thin. It's very just, the whole bow is not very big. This thing weighs nothing. But a riser like that's going to cost like $375. This one has a crack in it because we all know what happened there. So we're going to get that. It was a good night. I'm trying to find one in the same color. They have a couple of brown ones or whatever, but I might just pull the trigger and buy whichever one I can find.
Did we tie up next year's bucks yet?
Yeah, we're gonna tie them up. It's crazy because Al, this is funny. We got to get into this because there have been some comments on some of the videos about, wow, as many deer as what you guys see, you must be baiting them.
Mm. The woods bait the deer for you. Like the oak trees naturally bait deer, right? Like we're hunting over feed trees. We're hunting over these white oaks that the deer just gravitate towards. In the late season, we're hunting to grass patches that the deer are using for food. Like it's called just sitting over a food source, And
It's
and
cool to say
clearly,
about
like,
late season.
go ahead. I'm sorry. Do your thing. Do your thing.
I found a spot in probably, I don't know how big this area is. It's probably what, 40, 50 acres. And I found a tiny little 50 by 75 piece of, it's a hillside. And it just has really bright green grass growing on it. And I would go into this spot at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and by 2:30 or 2:45, I would have deer 60 yards away from me in this grass feeding, and they would feed for hours, and then 10 or 15 minutes before dark, make their way past the tree that I was sitting in the on the ground, and then offered me opportunities. So those are the spot. Like it's very specific. And Al and I have also we've kind of come up with a new term for these feed trees. We call them guaranteed trees because they're just that. If you can find the right tree that is producing the acorns that the deer prefer over the other trees in the area, because in any given spot, maybe 30 or 40% of the trees are going to generate like 80% of the acorns. And if you can zero in on that one tree that they prefer, it's like a guarantee. You watch deer cross 400 yards worth of timber just to get to that one tree. And if you're sitting in it, you can have deer under you for an hour, hour and a half, and just wait for the big bucks to come in. And they are creatures of habitat, or habit. When you watch them, Alice, what's going on, lady? Bobby Sanders says, "Yo, bud, you never wrote him back about the G8." Well, you told me that you were going to write him back, Al.
Bobby, I apologize. I just spoke to Tony about that yesterday. Like, hey, I think somebody messaged the Pain Train Facebook. I apologize. I'm going to get back to you. Just give me like a day here. I'm sorry. That one's on me, buddy. I apologize. Entirely on me.
Jay Sharp says, "What's the pounds of the draw weight on that bow? On the striker, that's a 45-pound bow at 28 inches. On Al's homemade bow, it's probably 30-something pounds at 30 inches.
I'm gonna estimate like 33 to 35 pounds. It's not that bad, and I think once you throw an actual bowstring on here and it's a little more snappy because it doesn't have so much stretch in the string, I think you're gonna see it goes up in poundage a little bit. So that's gonna be my estimate there. And we'll see. And the poundage for me is going to be different than whatever it is for Tony. And I'm sure Tony's going to shoot this at some point. We'll see. But I mean, she can launch an arrow. Like she can launch an arrow. I've been stacking them a little bit here. Unfortunately, I can't stick lighted nocks because I don't have the right size on the arrows. My 500 spines that actually work for this bow. So I apologize in advance. I've been trying to shoot some of the 800 spines, but they inevitably end up left because they're under spine.
Al, Patrick Buckley says the meat on a big buck is tough and not worth eating compared to a 2-year-old doe.
Man.
The skin is also tough too, and you're trying to jam a trad bow arrow down through the top of it.
It's
Patrick, I'm glad you point that out. Because people do need to shoot more. They need to shoot more does. We know that. There are so many guys that just go out and they travel to all these states, and all they want to do is hunt bucks. But we have to shoot more does. How many does did I kill this year, Al?
I mean, you killed 2 bucks, so whatever else. I'm sorry, that's not
Yeah,
true.
but
You
you
got
know
some
what?
button bucks in there, and I've got a button buck
Two,
in there too.
two of them were button bucks. But we have killed quite a number of big mature does. We killed three big mature does this year. 2 button bucks and 2 big mature bucks.
I've got I don't know how many mature does I've got. The one I shot early season, like red tag season, she was a pretty big deer, but it was early yet. Like they hadn't started packing on the poundage yet. So I have no idea how many I've gotten.
No, she's a big mature doe.
There was the one over up on, I don't want to say where I was hunting per se. I'm at 2 bucks, two good does, and then 1 button buck is where I ended the season. And I should be at more than that. Like that's the sad part of it. I should be at a lot more than that.
Bullseye Ben, I don't know if an old buck passing on the genes is any different from a young buck passing on the genes, because it's still, whether that young buck just hasn't reached maturity, it's still the same genes. So if he lives to 5, or if he doesn't live to 5 and he gets shot at 2, if he would have been a big giant monster if he'd have got to 5, those genes are still the same. So I don't know. Like again, there's a lot of wives' tales and folklore surrounding hunting. I start to bring out the stats, like 17% of the annual doe harvest in Pennsylvania is button bucks, and people lose their mind. They're like, no way, that's not possible. Well, yeah, it is, unfortunately. And then you start to talk about how many, 1-year-old bucks, 1.5-year-old bucks do 1.5 and 2-year-old bucks do the vast majority of the breeding, because these guys spend 75 or 80% of their time on their belly. That's the only way they get that big. The old big mature bucks are generally chill. They're hiding out while the 2-year-olds and 3-year-olds are out bashing each other's brains in, trying to get some does. I'm just saying the likelihood higher that the older buck has mated. It might be. There's also a lot of proof that suggests that just because a buck mates with a doe doesn't mean another buck might come in right after that doe and mate with her again. The shape of parts makes a big difference here, but it almost acts like a shovel and pulls fluid out, if you know what I'm getting at.
I unfortunately do.
There's a huge number of does that give birth to fawns or triplets, and they can have 2 different fathers or 2 different bucks or 3 different bucks. So it's a crazy game out there. Like whatever happens in the rut, it's a crazy game. And this is all, we're talking science-based stuff here. Oak Ridge Taxidermy says those are some beautiful mounts. Hey, this one's super cool because it's shot early season, and the fur on it is the hair is just so short and tiny. The guy who did it for me did an absolutely fantastic job on it. We appreciate it, Oak Ridge. I will tell Josh over at my taxidermy shop that he did a good job.
Hammer Creek Taxidermy.
We can give him a shout out, right, Al?
Hammer Creek Taxidermy. Absolutely,
Creek,
we can give him a shout out. Absolutely. Give him a shout out any night of the week. He does fantastic work. He probably has one of the best prices that I've seen in the area. I know he's cheaper than the next 2 local guys to me. I don't think you can go wrong with him. He does a really, really good job. So I will absolutely give him a shout out.
TJ says I need a pheasant. I know. I need a pheasant, a turkey, and I want to shoot another coyote.
All I want to do is shoot more deer.
Jay Sharps he's going through the same thing I'm going through, a lot of pain and suffering. Unfortunately, right? Bullseye Ben, yeah, like a turkey baster, exactly. AI takeover, what's going on?
AI takeover. What a name.
Oak Ridge says, can we see the rest of them? All right, well, let's get into this. We might as well get into it, Al. I'm going to switch to camera. All right, so we've got this is this year's Pennsylvania buck. He tapes out right around 125. Again, because it's a 9-point instead of a standard 8-point, he scores a little higher. That's the first buck I ever shot with a bow. Back in the day, I thought that was a hammer. It's also the first buck I've ever shot over a scrape, so it was a really cool experience for me. That was 2019. I got away from hunting for a long time. I did like a 10 or 12-year hiatus. This one right here is last year's buck. He's quite a bit more mass oriented. He doesn't have super long main beams, but they're probably right at about 20. And then his strong point there, going to be the brow tines, right? You guys can see the detail there on the taxidermy. And this deer, I think he's quite a bit older than what we give him credit for.
Oh, he's a very old deer. The one
Yeah,
you
I
shot
think so.
last year?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
And then
ancient.
here's what I'm talking about. Here's what I'm talking about with this deer. It's the hair on it is just so short. So Josh did a fantastic job with it, cleaning it up. Look at the detail in the ears. Here, I'm going to take the phone. I'm taking the phone off the tripod because I got to show you guys correctly what this looks like.
Oak Ridge, it was a good year for bucks. I mean, just gauging it off of the Facebook pages, it seemed like the buck harvest this year was up probably 10% from last year. It's crazy.
You guys can see the detail there, right? Like I said, the ears look phenomenal. I don't like Josh to mess with any of the stuff that's in the antlers. I watched this guy rub his velvet out the day before. Well, the day or before, or 2 days before I shot him. So he's got all that jazz on there. This one, it has all that stuff on it. This is the Pain Train buck. This is the one that started it all. I shot this deer on a mountain last day, the day before the last day of the rut in 2023, right? No, 2022.
Mm-hmm.
And we left the truck at like 3 o'clock in the morning. Al and I went in. Look at this guy from down here. And I didn't get out of the woods till 1:30 the next morning because I had a heck of a drag.
I don't care what anybody says. You could shoot a 200-inch buck in Missouri, and I would still think the Pain Train buck is bigger. I don't know what it is.
And then this buck is cool. It's another pretty early season buck. It was shot like the first week of October. The reason I shot it, it has like this triangle double neck pouch or double neck patch. I think that was so cool. And at that point, when I shot him, he was pretty decent deer to shoot at, right? So we'll get after him. Just look at the detail on this.
Mm-hmm.
Looks good, man. I'm excited about it. Josh does a fantastic job. If you guys ever need something done in Pennsylvania, he's the guy I would recommend. Got to get it turned back around here. Oh, man. Now, we stole the show from Al. He's over there playing around with the bow still.
I don't know if I would say stole the show. I will say my back is getting a little tired. I think this is probably like I think I'm underestimating the poundage on this bow, if that
You
makes
might
sense.
be.
So we'll see. I need you to bring my my Bowyer's bench to work tomorrow though, so I can grab that off you.
You know, if I remember to go to work tomorrow, I'll do that.
I mean,
So
I'm shooting lights out with this freaking thing though. Like it's crazy. I mean, I'm at 2 out of 3 of the diamonds right now. The one I missed is an inch outside of the diamond. Like at 10 yards, this bow might kill a deer this year yet. Like you never know.
nah, nah.
I got 2 months of season left, and there might be some early fawns. You never know.
All right. So we talked earlier about kind of unboxing a little piece of equipment that we got from Hang Free. Again, it's a company that fits the model for me now. It's rather inexpensive. It's made by a group of people that are just trying to do the same thing we're trying to do, and that is survive in the outdoors. And the quality of this thing is on fire. Like it's just an awesome little pouch. If any of you guys know what this is a pouch that hangs on your saddle. The only thing that I have to compare it to is the Latitude pouches that I have, and then the old tethered pouches that I gave you, Al.
Yeah.
The difference here, this has a plastic attachment buckle here.
Mm,
All of the others have metal. It's not a deal breaker as long as it doesn't break, right?
yeah.
Supposedly, this green material here will heal itself if it gets poked and prodded and whatever. It's got a mesh pouch here that you can put your retrieval rope in. It's got one on the back as well. This is a 13-inch pouch, right? This is about 8 inches long. It's a 13-inch pouch. So if you want to throw a full-size rope in it,
I'm going to interrupt you. Oak Ridge sent us a super chat. Thank you so much.
Oak Ridge, what's up? But we carry like a 45-foot rope. What I like to do is I like to just double that rope over. And this is the perfect size to fit even a 10 or 12 inch. And then you can see what it looks like. So we're rocking that thing. I have one of them on my saddle right now. And I'm probably going to put this one on and take the other one off when it rips a hole in it too. It's nothing against the Latitude. It's just we've had that set up for about 3 years now, and I've destroyed it. But even even the detail here that they put on the shrink wrap, it's awesome. It's got a big button on there so you can tighten the bag down. You won't lose your gear. I think it's an awesome product. Al and I are all about supporting those local guys, supporting the smaller guys in the industry, and helping them out. So if you guys are looking for new pouches, I'm giving them a thumbs up. I think it's a great company. I think they're doing awesome stuff.
I'm looking for new pouches.
Yeah, you want a new Latitude pouch?
I've got my problem is I just carry way too much rope with me, and those tethered pouches are way too small. I'm not here to talk shit on any brand or whatever, but those tethered pouches for 50 feet of rope, 55 feet of rope are just way too small. They just don't
Well,
do it.
and Tethered makes two different size pouches, right? That's not the only size pouch they make. I think a lot of these companies make two different size pouches now. And like you said, it's just a matter of like we're not ripping on it. I think the Latitude pouches I have, one is still in perfect shape. The other one is just that's the one I'm constantly jamming a rope in. That's the one that's constantly getting the seams ripped out of it. It could probably be stitched back together. I might actually send it to my brother and see if he'll stitch it back together. It's holding up fine, over time, but it's time for that one to be replaced or fixed or something. And we're hard on gear. Like it just is what it is.
I would argue there's probably very few people that are harder on gear than we are. I know we both probably hunted 100-ish sits this year. I mean, when you factor in late
I
season,
know.
we were pushing 100 each.
I know that in that portion of January when I decided to go after the collared doe, I hunted 12 out of 13 days, and the only reason I didn't hunt the other one is because it was a Sunday.
Yep.
Day in and day out.
And then, I mean, you took a couple days off the next week, but then you were right back at it.
Yep.
So, I mean, just in late season, in the last month of the season, I would say you hunted 20 plus days easily.
At least, yeah. At
Yeah.
least.
So
Probably more like 25.
You factor in everything since September, and we're probably right there, 100-ish days.
This deer, from the time I saw it on the, what's the first day of the season or the second day of the season?
No, it wasn't.
Season.
It wasn't
No,
either
second
of
day.
those because I went
It
in.
was a
Hang
Monday.
on, you went in
It
the
was a
first day
Monday.
of the season. The second day of the season is when I went in, and I was like, "There's feed trees right here," and then you went in. Not, it wasn't the same area. You went fucking. Oops. You went 800 yards, 1,000 yards. I don't even know where you were, but nevertheless, yeah, it was. I think it was the next Monday after opening day, and then the Monday after that is when you killed him, right?
Okay.
What's up, buddy?
Are you just watching a video?
I'm doing a live with Alfred.
Are you talking to you right now?
Yeah. Why, you need something?
Is that Lando? Lando, are we playing
There is.
zombies?
Yeah.
Dad said he's playing with you all night.
Oak Ridge, I'm from Lebanon. Al is from Tower City.
After my shot, quick play.
Yeah.
Good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go get a shower, dude. Close that door so the cat don't come in.
Okay.
He'll just jump all over
Bye,
the window.
Alfred.
Later, dude. Early season deer are the hardest deer to mount. He did a slant. Like, I know. Believe me. You can see where he put his foam on there. There's like a slight indentation in it because you can't fluff the hide and hide anything. Everything just shows. It's unbelievably hard. Abigail, I think he's won some competitions too. I don't know his resume, but I think he's done some competitive taxidermy. I know he's got a lot of stuff that's going in the show. He's working on, what is it? It's not I think it's a,
That was bad.
it's not a water buffalo. What's the other
Like
buffalo over in Africa?
Cape
He's
buffalo?
working on, yeah, he's working on a Cape buffalo, I think, that needs to be in a show like in March. And I don't know what show that is.
He had a whole bunch of stuff from Africa that he was
I
working
know. He's got all kinds of stuff. Yep. Cape buffalo. Abigail, what's going on? We're just chilling out. I don't know if I missed anything else out there. Ben, thanks for putting the YouTube channel down there. Everybody's got to go check it out. Everybody's got to say hello to Ben. Oak Ridge. We're going to check you out as well. We're going to go out and sub. We're going to sub because I want to see what you're working with here.
Oak Ridge, where are you located, brother?
I'm going to pull it up. I'm going to pull it up on the compy.
I don't know if you guys can see them or not. I'm just stacking them. I mean, I pulled the one real bad, but the rest of them are all right there. I mean, all of them. I don't know if you can see them or not. This is why we shoot lighted knocks.
You did pull the one.
That was me. You know, I have this thing with longbows, you know? So the rest of them, you should be able to see this. I mean, the rest of them are all right here.
Oh, Al. You're never going to guess where Oak Ridge Taxidermy's from. You're our new best friend.
I mean, I'm not going to have to here in a second because I'm just going to read it.
He's our new best friend.
I can't zoom out. What is going on? That's weird. Oak Ridge. No, that's Ben. I missed it. Where's he from?
Elkton, Maryland.
Oh, hey there, bud.
Hey, how you doing there?
So we hunt Maryland quite a bit. That's why that's funny. I mean, I know you talked about your Maryland buck here earlier, but that's funny how close you are. And I mean, that makes it even easier on us because then we don't have to cross state lines.
Well, the challenge is based on current law, right? It has to go immediately to a taxidermist or a butcher shop. And then once it gets there, that person has to remove all of the stuff. All of the does that we shoot in Maryland, we're able to quarter them down. Like we quarter them up, dispose of the
High risk.
high risk parts, and then we're able to bring the stuff back in a cooler. But you can't, when it's 80 degrees out, you can't just let this guy lay in a bag somewhere and then come back the next day. So yeah, maybe you would be a fantastic option to help us out in the future if we get jammed up. We're gonna look at it here on Google www.google.com ski. Oak Ridge Taxidermy.
Those arrows are touching. How cool would it be if I got my first Robin Hood with a bow I built?
It would be awesome.
I haven't even gotten a Robin Hood with a compound. Maybe I'm just bad. I don't know.
Hey, they're open till 8 p.m. We could look. We got 2 minutes to get a deer to them.
Well, I would have to have a deer to get to him is the whole thing. And, this is officially, I did not kill any deer in Maryland this year. None
I know. I'm
whatsoever.
so
That's $220 I'll never get back.
I'm
not mad about it
disappointed.
though. I had so many opportunities and like I missed what I missed 3 deer in Maryland. I missed a handful. It was my own fault, but it is what it is. It was a good learning experience for me. That's why we hunt Maryland. We get out early. We can stay out late. Like it's fantastic. Uh-oh. Ben, we didn't need to know that, brother.
What did Ben say?
You're just gonna have to read some comments here, buddy.
Well, I'm looking up some stuff.
Jaden, you mind your own business, okay? She's already spoken for. Somebody else in the chat is buying it, I think, and she's going. There were a lot of big deer shot in Maryland. Absolutely. There were a lot of big deer that were not shot in Maryland either. I know I saw a bruiser late season. I didn't see any posts on Facebook. I'm in a lot of the Maryland Facebook pages. I didn't see any posts where anybody killed some of the bigger deer we were after. So I'm not saying they weren't killed, but I think there's a very good chance that they slipped on through.
The night I saw this buck for the first time, Oak Ridge, I thought he was probably like a 140. He was in velvet still, and he was standing next to deer that had already rubbed out. So it gave him the illusion, but I didn't know he was in velvet yet. I thought he was already rubbed out, but he was standing with 2 other bucks. One was probably in the 160 range, and the other one's probably in the 150 something range, real close. And they kind of bumped antlers and did some ding danging around, but I only laid eyes on the other one other time after that. It just seemed like the only reason I found this buck, I'll be honest, like this is how it happens. All I'm doing is I'm reading other hunter pressure, because if they're going to hang trail cameras and they're going to get pictures, they're going to tell their buddies. Their other buddies are going to show up. And the next thing you know, you got 70 people over a 1 mile stretch of road parked in Maryland somewhere on public. And that told me all I needed to know. And then all I had to do is look at some maps, kind of break down based on my personal experience with other bucks where they might be bedded. I went straight to that spot and I got downwind of where I thought they'd be, maybe 150 yards. And I could smell them bedded. So I went to try to set up and kill them. And just at last light, I could smell them again. So I got the binos on them, like maybe 70, 80 yards away, hunting with a trad bow. So, no shots, obviously. And then watched him move up a ridge. And then I played the 7-day cat and mouse game to finally get him to 16, 17 yards and take a shot. So
Oak Ridge, thanks for the super chat or the super sticker or whatever it is. We appreciate it, brother. Seriously,
You're the
thanks so
man.
much. Shibe, what is up? What are you up to tonight?
Shibe, you better say hello to Alice.
By other hunting pressure, Tony means like I was parked there, so he followed my car around.
Did somebody say, what did I mean by other hunting pressure?
No. I was just elaborating.
Yeah, I mean, it's, if you hunt the same spot 4 or 5 years in a row and you never see guys parked there, and then all of a sudden on opening day, opening evening, there's cars lined up on both sides of the road for like a half mile, 75, 80 cars, like something's up. Like that kind of triggered in my mind. I was like, all right, well, somebody has saw a big buck in here, or there have to be a lot of deer in here. And, that brings out the competitive nature in me. And I'm like, all right, I got to go find where the big one's at. The moment that I posted the video on Facebook, the moment that I posted the video on the YouTube, we immediately started to get comments from all the guys that were hunting it. Like a lot of comments, like, oh, I know exactly where that deer's at. I know where you shot him at. And then they would send trail cam pictures. Now, I don't know if they know exactly where I shot him at, or they might have been in there and shot him. But they know the vicinity. They might be within 400 yards. They might be within 800 yards, straight line distance of where this buck was. There's a very small, almost impossibly tiny piece of bedding. Most people aren't going to be able to detect it, and it sets up really brilliantly. There are a couple of really narrow routes that go to and from the bedding that if you're walking through the woods, you'd miss them. But if you're sitting in a tree stand at 40 yards, you cannot see these deer working through there. And they can travel a couple hundred yards from that bedding in that little thicket that's almost undetectable, down to a creek bottom and up the other ridge without even being seen. And those are that's what I'm looking for. I can almost spot that stuff on a map, and then I just go in and I double check it and I make sure that's what it looks like. And I'm like, yep, that's the spot. I got downwind of the spot. I could smell the deer. I went in and, 6 or 7 hunts later, we finally killed a deer. Illegal. The season ended January 20th. I hunt funnels and pinch points. Yeah, outside with Shibe. We yes. Funnels and pinch points in rifle season are awesome. They're really good in the rut, but like this early season shit, like you have to set up 50 yards from range better. Okay.
Are you talking now?
Yep, still talking now. We're almost done. We're probably jumping off here in a minute, okay?
Not for
Yeah,
Jumping
TJ
off
said
in a minute.
hello.
We're staying on
Huh?
all night. I think
What?
this is gonna be our first all-nighter.
Okay, jump in the shower.
Okay,
You want to shut my door for me? But yeah, those the pinch points and funnels and stuff, man, we take advantage of that all the time.
I don't know
Oh,
if I
okay.
do. I'm not a good rut hunter by any means, or I would have killed a deer during the rut at some point here. But
If I had
especially
the
down in Maryland.
category, if I had to categorize you in a certain way, Al, I would say that you are a betting to food type of guy 100% of the time.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you on that. Like if I see a big buck, I have no trouble taking a couple days to move in and get a kill shot on him. Like I don't have trouble doing that. And I think I've proven that this season. Um, During the rut, man, I feel like I bounce all over the place and I see bucks every single sit and I never am within range of them. Like I don't know what it is. You know, and it's not like I'm seeing them and it's like, oh, they're not within traditional archery range. Like no, they're not in compound range either. Like I'm seeing them, they're 80 yards away every single time. And if I move over to where I saw them last time, well then they're over where I sat the first time, you know? Like it's just annoying. I hate the rut. Absolutely despise the rut.
I don't know, man. You've grunted quite a few bucks in over the last 2-3 years.
Not during the rut. It's always during pre-rut, with the exception of the pain train buck that I didn't kill. It's always pre-rut, and I'm learning that when it's right before, you know, that week leading up to the rut, they are so fired up and they are so ready to fight and just, you know, the other F word that we're all thinking. Like they're just they're there, you know, like it's great. But it's not necessarily during the rut. Yeah, Maryland, like I did grunt some bucks in during the rut, but they come in and they hang up at that 40 to 50 yards when they don't see another deer, which is why next year we're gonna practice with a decoy a little bit.
Oak Ridge, I was checking it out, but I got to a hard stop here because I'm not logged into my Facebook on this computer because my kid was using it. I don't even know what my Facebook is. But
We'll
the one
certainly check
picture
you
I was
out after
super
this.
interested in. Huh?
I said we'll
Well, the
certainly
one
check you
picture,
out after this.
yeah, the one picture I was super interested in was the coyote. And you can see where I'm kind of like I'm at a stop. So I usually use Facebook on the phone, and as soon as I get off here, that's number one priority to check it out. Like I said, we'll probably bring you some business next year, at least once or twice.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's, you know, this is one of our biggest failures, I think, between two relatively experienced hunters. Like, we did not do any scouting. We didn't run any trail cameras in Maryland. We did nothing in Maryland, which you and we like to go in blind. We like to set up on the fresh sign. I get that. But in Maryland, they open early enough that you can set up on their summertime patterns, you know? And I think that's one of our biggest failures this season.
What?
Lee, you better watch
Oh,
it. I'm gonna start killing the deer on Pretty Boy. If I use something other than the recurve, you're not gonna have any deer left on your land. And honestly, I don't think me and Tony are the problem with pushing deer. I think it's the other people doing deer drives in archery only areas. But we already know how I feel about that, so there's no point in talking that to death here.
yeah, go get in the shower. No, go get in the shower.
I will say I'm really looking forward to working some sort of sponsorship deal for next season because hunting with the trad bows is probably the hardest thing I've ever done. It's probably the hardest thing you've ever done. Like it's difficult. And to some degree I just don't want it to be as difficult, you know?
But it's also really rewarding when it pays off.
It is. I'm not denying that at all, but it's hard.
There's just so many opportunities that you can't take advantage of because you're limited to 20 yards.
Well, I mean, that
You know?
aspect of it, and then even at 20 yards, how many deer have we missed this year within 20 yards? I know I've missed 4 or 5. In 20 yards, I've missed 4 or 5. Maybe 6. I don't even remember it, honestly. I've missed a lot of deer this year. The buck I killed this year that's at the taxidermist, I missed the first time. He was at 12 or 13 yards. I shot right over his back. And it's the same thing I did with a lot of deer this year.
Yeah.
I mean, it just is the way it is. But then when you take your buck to the taxidermist, he's like, "Man, I've had less than 20 of these. Like it's kind of cool."
Yeah,
That's
and
a
he's
cool
been
feeling.
mounting deer for 30 years.
Yeah, that's a cool feeling. That's one of the things that makes it like, I don't know, makes it worth it almost. And next year, like I will kill a deer with a bow I make next year. Like I'm telling you, it's gonna happen. If we're gonna make eyebrow bets already, that's my eyebrow bet for next year. I will kill a deer with a bow I make. And speaking of eyebrows,
Hey, what did Lee say up here about keep hurting Pretty Boy and pushing all the deer onto our land? Oak Ridge sent another daggum super chat. You're an animal, bro. Look,
so
we're not even gonna have to
thank you.
pay for it. We're not even gonna have to pay for our first mount. It'll be funded by super chats, super stickers.
Well, we appreciate it, and we'll certainly try and repay the favor there. Um, so Lee lives. I think you know this. Lee owns property bordering Pretty Boy Reservoir. So Lee always gives us the heads up, like, "Hey, they just did deer drives here yesterday, or whatever the case is."
Yep. But
Um,
does he think those like Lee? You can chime in too, because I'm not sharpshooting you here. I'm just asking for your opinion. Um, I don't know how we could hurt the deer population at Pretty Boy Reservoir. I just I don't know
going
how.
off and killing 20 deer a year, I don't think we could. You met somebody who killed 20 deer this year down there.
There's a guy down there that I met. He has killed what 25 deer so far this year. I don't know. There are so many deer at Pretty Boy. I don't know how they survive the winter without starving to death. And it's mostly because they're eating crops on the fields. Oak Ridge, he did make that bow. He made that bow today and yesterday. He's got about 4.5, 5 hours in the build.
I did.
TJ,
I'll show
if
you
you're
guys
taking
the
off,
bow,
man.
but I want to show you the group here. I don't know if there's a good way to do it. I'm just going to bend the arrows a little bit because this is my best group of the night, and it's not because the bow is bad; it's because I'm bad. But nevertheless, let me show you.
TJ, you have a good night, man. I appreciate everything that you do.
So I've got. Can you see those, Tony?
I can. How many is that? 3 or 4?
That's 4.
Yeah, so you got 4 arrows, like all right up there. That's a pretty good group for a bow you just made today.
Yeah, I mean, especially considering like I'm not some talented bow maker. I'm some redneck in his garage. You know.
Oak
You
Ridge
can see
says,
my.
how often do you sell them? Well, not yet. This is the first one he's built that didn't break.
Yeah.
We're
So
just starting this
I have
process.
a 31, 32-inch draw length, depending on whatever arrows I shoot. Technically, I'm a 32-inch draw length. Generally, I shoot a 31-inch arrow. And trying to get a self bow, one piece of wood to bend that much is quite the task. You know, the last 2 bows I made, they both bend to 28 inches, no problem. You know, it's that last like 2 inches that just breaks them. So, and I mean, Tony, you'll see like your time's coming here real soon. You know, like it's your turn to start making stuff.
Look, I'm going to let you get the advantage. I'll let you go out. I'll let you shoot the first deer with a bow you made. And then you'll be like, oh, I'm going to win this one. Yeah, here's the race. And then out of nowhere, on some Friday night, I'll get drunk and drink a lot of whiskey and build a bow. And then Saturday morning, double up in the same feed tree and shoot 2 deer with it. You know how I roll, bro.
Doubt you. I'm just gonna come out and say it. I know it motivates you. I doubt you. There's no way.
You have to motivate me, because if not, I'm not getting on. Like my body's old, it's tired, it hurts, my hips broke, my back's broke. Like I don't feel like doing it. But if you motivate me and tell me I can't, I will prove you wrong.
Hinton, what's up? Thanks for hopping on. I know I saw some of your comments earlier. Tony and I were just caught up in conversation, so I apologize if we missed your chat. Same with Bugs. I see you're hopping off. Thanks everybody for hopping on tonight. We appreciate you guys. That's all I got. Yeah. Here's the thing, like you're not letting me, like it's the same thing, like you thought you were gonna let me have the first kill with the recurve, but I just went out and did it. You know what I mean? Like you can sit here and say, oh, I let you do this all you want, but at the end of the day, what was it, August 2nd, I took my first deer
You
with the
did.
recurve.
Yeah, you did.
So I'll secure it for myself, you know. The JX3 saddle. Oak Ridge, I am so glad you brought that up. This is one I've wanted to try out for a while now. I know I've talked to Tony about this saddle. It has the hard seat in it. It's like sitting in a swing almost. I know I've brought this up to you, and it's one I've wanted to try out.
I'm probably just buying one next year because my hip hurts so bad from sitting the way I sit. But before we get into the JX3 saddle, Oak Ridge, thank you for bringing that up. We appreciate it. But we have to get to Bullseye Ben's comment before it disappears. He says, I'm going to try and get there in September. Look, just come. Look, you could, whatever. Leave the wife and a kid, bring the wife and a kid. I don't care. Come stay, whatever you want to do. I got a room for you guys, or 2 rooms for you guys, at least, maybe more. Thanks, Hulk, for knocking the antlers off of the windowsill. Come on out, get a license, and we're going to hunt. Because I can tell you where I know where I'm going to be in September all next year, and I don't have any commitments other than hunting and making videos. So if you want to do it, let's do it.
You know, Oak Ridge, I have a tethered Phantom, and I will say, like, the tethered is absolutely not the most comfortable compared to the what is the Arrow Hunter that Tony sold me. That's what I've used since
The
I've
Kestrel.
started. Yeah, it's an Arrow Hunter, but yeah,
Kestrel Arrow Hunter.
yep.
Look, Ben, you know this right now. I don't care if your kids are crap flinging apes. The problem is going to be your wife, because she already thinks it's a scam, dude. But
He's
look,
welcome out here.
She'd come over her, and Tiff and her would probably get together, and next thing you know, we'd never get it. Look, I'd have to mail you guys back home in a belly of an airplane or something.
Look, we will put you on deer. Like Tony and I are not afraid to do that. The only thing I don't want to hear at the end of the night is right next to me, because I'm gonna freaking lose it. If I have to hear that one more time in my life, I'm gonna lose it. Oh God. Tony and I take a lot of people out hunting. Like let's be real for a second here, right? Like I know I joke about it. Like I say I'm gonna lose it, like whatever the case is. Like I enjoy taking new people or inexperienced people out hunting. I enjoy putting them on deer, like giving them their opportunity to prove themselves. This season was hard for me to do that because I didn't have the opportunity to prove myself, you know. But you can, I mean, you can comment on this probably even more, Tony, because the first time you took me out hunting, I dropped a metal step onto another metal step, and it turned out to be quite the shit show. So,
Well, and you've also tried to put a guy on some deer down in Maryland this year, and you showed him a pin. You said, "Here, this is how you do it." He went down there. He took about 30 steps in the woods and was like, "What's wrong with you? Why would you hunt in there? It's so thick you can't even see deer." So you just have to be able to put up with the pain train standards here. We're going to hunt places that most people aren't going to hunt. That's why we're going to see them, and you're going to have to get used to that. You're going to have to work hard. It's probably going to suck, but you're going to see a lot of deer. You're going to see deer probably 85 or 90% of the time you go in the woods. Lee says, my friend that hunts Liberty do very well there. Yeah. By very well, how many deer do they kill down there? Because I'm thinking about like transition, and maybe next year I'll give Pretty Boy a little bit of a break, except for my one spot early season, and I'll hunt Liberty and Loch Raven.
you know, we haven't really given the western side of the Maryland a fair chance yet. I know you spent a little bit out there.
I
You
have a
spent a
little
little
bit.
bit. You spent 3 days out there. Like, I don't know if that's giving it a fair chance. Like, we need to do some work out there too. I know I've got some pins like laid out or places I want to check out.
Look, if I was a deer and somebody said, "Hey, man, just a heads up, Tony and Al from Pain Train are coming over here for 3 days," you look, I would be nervous. It would be more than a fair chance. 3 days is a long time.
I'm not arguing that by any means. I'm just simply stating the fact that if you and I spent 3 days scouting out there early season and then spent a week hunting it, like it would be a slaughter fest. I know I'm hunting West Virginia next year. You're hunting you said you're hunting Ohio next year, right?
I might not even hunt Ohio. I might not even hunt next year, bro. I'm just taking the time off.
I believe it. Like you don't have any wall space left to hang stuff.
I don't know about that. I got a little bit of room.
So I will say like that area, and this is the part I told the other person, like it was in a super thick spot. Like Tony, I think I sent you the pin, so you know how thick it is. Like you're crawling in some places, and some places you're just getting stuck with thorn bushes because it's just the way it is. There's no way to get through it. But going back to late season last year, I put a trail camera out there, and in one single day, I had 103 trail camera photos of deer in one day. Like it's just one of those things. Like, and this is the areas that we hunt. You need to be in the thick stuff late season.
People don't believe that.
They yeah, I mean they're not going to believe it. They're going to believe whatever they want to believe, you know. Some people and I would say a lot of the people who have followed us for the last like 3 months, the last 4 months, people who saw what we did this hunting season, like we said, like, hey, we're gonna kill 5 to 6 deer, and then you go out and you killed what are you at 8, 9?
Mm-hmm.
You're at something like that. I don't even know where you're at. Like you're just, you're doing your thing, I'm doing my thing. But we
There are
told people from
videos
the
you haven't
start,
even seen yet.
they're yeah, because you don't never mind. That's neither here nor there. But like the people who follow us, we told them like, hey, we're going to do this, this, and this, and then we did this, this, and that. We did it without expensive leases. We did it without crazy equipment. I did it with an $80 recurve. You did it with your recurve, like craziness, absolute craziness.
And we shot some big deer. Like you shot a really awesome big deer.
Yeah, I can't even say I came up short of my goal. Like my goal for the season was to kill a mature buck with a recurve. And I did that. Like it didn't have antlers, but I still have the hide inside because it's ready to be draped over a shelf. Like it's, I can't complain about that. I did shoot a really nice buck that I did not recover. That one haunts me a little bit, and luckily I have it on video to remind me every day for the rest of my life. But you know,
What's the best thing about filming your hunts out?
the best thing is being able to go back and watch that shot 5 to 6 times before you even get down from the tree, and you have this idea in your mind of how the track is going to be, or whether or not it's a dead deer. That's probably the best thing about it.
What's the worst thing about filming your hunts?
The worst thing about it is when you make a bad shot, you and everybody else, if you're an honest YouTuber and you're an honest hunter, they get to relive that with you for the rest of your life. And
All
I've
right.
posted my bad shots. You have posted your bad shots. Like we've been very, very transparent with our hunting.
So let's go full circle there, right? So if the bad shots are the worst because everybody can see it, right? It's a unique opportunity to share something where people can also learn from it. And then it's an opportunity to get better. I think for me, the best part about filming my hunts is trying to, I guess, trying to be patient enough to let the story unfold, right? And if you're not filming and you have no reason to let the story unfold, then you can rush it and it can all be over in a second. Like you have a deer just come underneath and you're like, bam, it's done. But with filming it, it's like you've got to slow that down. You've got to have patience. You've got to take your time. And I think that's probably the coolest thing. And then on the opposite side, as my kid yells at me, I think the worst part about it is the added pressure, right? Like it puts you in a pressure cooker, in a meat grinder.
I
Because
would
there
agree
is
with you
no-
until you get used to it. Like,
Yeah. And then one of the other cool things that I think is probably, I don't know, it's weird how it all plays out, right? But at some point, you have to wonder how many folks are out there. You have to wonder about the statistics. Like how many guys on the first day of the season or the first week of the season, they sling an arrow over the top of the back of a buck that they're trying to kill, and then they they just crawl down out of the tree later on. They pick their arrow up. They go back to the hunting camp or they go back to their buddies and they're like, yeah, I had him in at 23 yards and I just didn't take the shot because I didn't think he was big enough. How many guys get a swing and a miss and then they tell whatever story they want? I think the beauty in filming it is you've got to tell the story that you captured on film. And I love it. It's part of it's so unique.
well, and that brings up a very unique perspective for us too. Like, we talked about it earlier. Like, we get accused of doing illegal stuff. Like, we do because we kill a lot of deer. The best part is I have proof to every single deer I've killed that I didn't do anything illegal. I did it all during daylight, during legal hunting hours. I didn't do it over bait. Like all of it's there. It's all on. It's all there.
Yeah, I think that's just that's the downside of having your stuff on social media. That's the downside of having stuff that people just don't believe, right? Like everybody's going to second guess it, doubt it until they see it. It's the same way with trout fishing. We'll go out, we'll catch 75 trout between the two of us in a 5-hour period on the stream. It's like,
I'm excited for that. That's fun. Like those early season days for trout fishing where we're each catching 30 plus fish are just fantastic.
what did backwoods
I
or
don't know. I feel
backmount
like I feel like I missed some stuff. Al is
Yeah, I think
muted.
so.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you coming a little.
Oh no, they can hear me. I probably just wasn't talking, to be honest.
Yeah, back mountain outdoors. I think there's a lot of guys out there that just, they tell a story that they want to. They tell the story that's convenient for them. And, like for every really great YouTube video, there might be 100 other videos because I'm going through this too. There might be 100 other videos that are part of the story that don't make it into that final edit. There's so much B-roll that you could just choose whatever you want to put in there. You can tell the story however you want. And that's cool if you're trying to tell a story. But if you're exaggerating what you do, or if you're, uh, a little bit left to center and your moral compass isn't quite pointing north and you do things the wrong way, I feel a certain way about that. I've lost friends over it. And I'll stick with my moral high ground on that because I just truly believe in it. Like if we're going to go out We're going to chase the resource that's out there, and we're going to throw it in our freezer and use it. Everybody should have the same fair chance at it. It's just part of how I feel. That's where my heart's at. Do it by the book. A minute after legal is still after legal. It does. If it's a minute after legal or 74 minutes after legal, does it matter? It's still after legal. And somebody will try to explain to you, well, 74 minutes after legal is way worse. Well, no, it's not. It's the same. It's where you draw the line. Anything after that is after legal. Just the way it is. And there are a lot of folks out there that believe that, if you shot it at 3 a.m. with a spotlight, it's different than shooting it a minute after legal with your bow, just because you can still see it on the field edge, and that's something I don't believe in.
Hey guys, we're not missing in the chat. Lee, the baiting, like it's legal. Like that's all I have to say for it. If you're on private land in Maryland, like the baiting is legal. If you choose to partake in that, that's great. Like it's legal. At least you're out hunting. Like that's all we care about. You know what I mean? Like get out, go hunt. Alabama fly fishing. What's y'all's biggest buck? Tony's got what is that? A 138 on you on the wall behind you? I don't even know.
I don't think after it's dry it's quite 138. It's probably 135 in a pinch.
Okay.
But just for reference, these G2s, like that's my hand right next to it. Those G2s they're 11 inches. He doesn't have a big wide spread. He's only got about a 15-inch spread. But he's also, he's a 12 point. He's got split G2s on both sides. You can see him there. Like he's just a massive tall deer. Then we got that bruiser there. He's just only slightly smaller. But that's my biggest one. That's another big one.
But yeah, so I mean, we've been on for a minute now. We've dropped down in people quite a bit. Do we duck hunt?
We used to have a friend that took us duck hunting, and we didn't
So
go
hold up.
golfing with him this
I
year.
never shot a duck with him. The only
So he
time
just
I shot a
totally
duck
said, "You know what?
recently.
If you got
Hang
this."
on. The only time I shot a duck recently was when you and him went out duck hunting, and I was like, "Nah, I'm sleeping in." And then I went to get coffee, and I was like, "Let me check this pond on public land," and then I shot 2 ducks.
And then what do you call it when you shoot them when they're sitting on the water?
Busting the roost or something like that. Something.
Yeah, whatever.
Messing up the roost. I don't know. We don't duck hunt. Yeah. We just swatted. Yeah, see, like that's
Look,
probably I like
swatting.
that. Swatted.
If
I'm a
Jiggly enough
swatter,
wants
dude.
Jiggly enough, if you're from Pennsylvania and you want us to go duck hunting with you, we will totally do that. But I'm going to spend most of my time laying in the blind filming shit because I just think it's funny.
The problem is, like in Pennsylvania, we don't have good duck hunting, right? Like if you want good duck hunting, you have to go, like Maryland down in the coastal region. You got to go down south. Like it is what it is. Like we don't have good duck
I
hunting. We
think
have
if you get out on the
fantastic deer
river,
hunting.
you could see some good duck action.
And quite frankly, I would much rather eat deer than duck. I'm just going to come out and say it. Blossom, like you're right in tune with what we're doing, man. That's exactly what we do. Tony and I, like, we see a lot of our bucks on like an observation sit or just even driving down the road or whatever along public land. And then we're like, well, how do we kill them? And then it starts the whole process. So you are right there with us.
For all the hardcore followers that are still out here on the live, like I think that I'm going to put a comprehensive set of videos together to talk about exactly how we do it. Like, do you want to see 10 deer every time you go to the woods? Or do you want to see 8 deer every time, like 90% of the time you go to the woods? I I think I'm gonna throw something together, and then I'll make it a like a premium channel, whatever we got to do, however we do it. I don't know whether it'll be Patreon. I don't know whether it's going to be YouTube, but I'm excited for that. Like, that's what I want to do.
Yeah, Lee, I'm gonna jump in, Tony. I'm not hating on baiting. Like, if it's a legal means of harvesting a deer, I'm not hating on it. I don't care what you do. And I know Tony feels the same way. If it's legal and you do it, who
Look,
cares?
Al shot 5 deer with the trad bow this year, but he also hunted the last couple days with a daggum crossbow because he's just having fun doing what he's doing. Like, if it's legal in your area to bait, go ahead and bait. I don't care. All I'm saying is that that's not for me. Why? I don't know, because we like doing stuff the hard way. I don't know.
See, and this is hang on, Tony, go down to the latest comment here by Jiggly Enough. That's such a funny name.
I like that name. Like, I want to look up the profile and see what's going on. It looks like a seal or something in the profile picture. I can't see.
No, and
But if you
this
do
is what I've been saying. Like,
comprehensive like that.
you need to provide this information. Like Tony and I, like I would consider myself a budget outdoor enthusiast. You know, like we're all about growing the sport. How do we grow hunting? You know, like we're not trying to mislead people. We're not saying, hey, you need to buy $100 worth of scent control products to go kill a deer, because you don't. You don't need to buy this ozone generator to go to kill a deer, because you don't. You know,
I have the ozone generator. I've used all the scent-free soaps. Guess what? They make scent-free soaps at Walmart for 1/5 of the. I've used all camo. I've shot deer without camo. Look, I have all the tree stands. I have all the saddle gear. Guess what? I've shot deer from the ground. The oldest deer ever shot was an 8.5-year-old deer. I shot it from the ground at 18 yards with a trad bow. Do I have the nicest bow you can buy for the money? I sure do. I have a couple of them, actually. But guess what? I can shoot one with an $85 bow from Amazon too. It doesn't matter. I guess the point that we're trying to make is a lot of this depends on how hard you're going to work, how you're going to read sign. Like, there's going to be a lot of people over the next couple of weeks that are going to spend tons of time in the woods looking for a shed antler. By the way, it's the first shed antler I ever found. I don't know what year I found it. It's probably about 5 or 6 years ago. But after I found my first one, and then I knew what to look for, I've found, I don't even know how many dozen of them.
it's probably more like
Probably
hundreds.
150.
Yeah, because you've given
But
me
the
at
thing
least
is,
10 of them.
if somebody doesn't walk you through the first one with a comprehensive way of, like, this is how you do it, and this is where we're going to look, and these are the areas, like 90% of the time, you can just cross stuff off a map and go, nope, open hardwood timber, I'm not walking it. I might stand on the edge and look at it with a pair of binoculars from 300-400 yards away, because I'm telling you, with a good pair of binoculars, you can see that antler from 150, 200 yards away. But I'm not going to waste my time walking through that. I'm going to go dive into every thicket, every hemlock tree. Another place that I think a big comprehensive, we're going to do some videos, because I think there's a lot of knowledge here. There's a lot of facts that, like, I truly believe the hunting industry has become something that most folks try to attain, but feel they can never achieve because somebody told them they can't. Period.
Well, and I
Just the way
think
it is.
it's the hunting industry has become unrealistic expectations, right? Like, you are most likely in your lifetime not going to go out and kill a 200-inch buck. You know, just because somebody does it on their 1,000-acre plot of land in Missouri, you know, like you're probably not going to do that in Pennsylvania. You're probably not going to do that in Ohio. And Ohio produces a lot of really big deer. Pennsylvania produces a lot of really big deer. You know, like
This is probably a lifetime buck for somebody that hunts every year of their life for 40 years.
yeah, like, and that's the hunting industry has grown into something that's just it's all based around a set of antlers. Like, and it's
That's
crazy.
also That's also probably a lifetime buck for somebody that's going to hunt every year of their life for 40 years. When you can start and shoot one of those every year that you're out in the woods, like, you've got a skill that the only 10% of hunters. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that are talking about it on podcasts, talk about it on YouTube. It's estimated only 10% of guys are ever going to shoot a deer 125 or bigger. You do it 4, 5, 6 years in a row. It's time to start and be a mentor and show some folks how to do it. That's all I'm saying.
Well, and I think like that's our calling, like, and I hate to say it like that, but like the hunting industry has gotten absolutely ridiculous. Like how do we get back to our roots? Like killing a fawn is still a cool accomplishment. Like it's any deer you kill, especially with a bow. Any deer you kill with a bow is an accomplishment. It's a trophy. Like how do we get back to that?
Yeah.
And then if you get to that point where you're like, okay, like I'm ready, like let me start hunting mature bucks, like then it's another animal. And like I'm not taking anything away from that, but like it seems like the entire hunting industry has taken away everything unless it's a 200-inch deer. If it's less than a 200, it doesn't count. It doesn't even matter. You're
Well,
irrelevant.
and some of this stuff is a package deal too. They don't understand everything that goes into it. First, you got to find the deer. Then you got to go set up, and you got to be either lucky enough or skilled enough, based on how you're patterning the deer, to have the deer come under your stand. And that's the first part. Believe it or not, that's the easy part. Being able to get a deer like that to come under your stand at 16 yards is the easy part. The hard part is now to draw the bow and get the shot off. Like, everybody thinks, oh, I just want to hunt big bucks, just, yeah, whatever. And then they get into that. I know guys that when the time comes to actually shear, they turn into I got to watch what I say because I got to be politically correct, but they turn into this guy. And it's like, that's okay. My advice for somebody like that is spend more time in a tree with deer right underneath you and shoot more does, shoot more little bucks, so that when you have a big one come in, you're prepared.
Yep.
You've got to be able to manage your emotions. If you can't manage your emotions, and you're going to fall out of the tree stand in excitement when the first big one comes in. Like, I have sat motionless for over 8 hours to try to get a shot on a deer. Not this year. This year I've sat motionless in a tree stand with a deer within range, bedded down for 3 hours. But you're going to have to be willing to pay that price. You're going to get into a spot where, a deer comes in and it beds down right in front of you, and it might be looking right at you, waiting for the acorns to fall off the tree. And what do? If you want to get a shot at that deer, especially if it's behind brush, you're going to have to wait it out. I mean, I've sat there in a tree stand in an awkward position until the muscles in my legs gave out and my legs started to shake violently because they're completely exhausted of energy. Because I've sat in that position, trying not to move or moving really slow. I know that I've swung around a tree from one side of the tree to the other side of the tree just so I could be blocked and take a break. And I know that's taken me 45 minutes to an hour because I've got a deer staring right at me. You got to be willing to do that stuff. You got to be willing to how many times have you been in a tree stand this year, Al, where you're like, you know what? I'm just so tired. I know that deer's right in front of me. I know there's 7 deer. They're all like looking around. They all kind of know I'm here, but the wind isn't in their direction, but maybe they saw me. And you know what? Like, I know I'm going to screw this up. I'm just going to, I'm just going to move my foot. I'm just going to move my foot enough so it's comfy. How many times have you been there?
Yeah.
You have to have the self-discipline not to move the foot.
It's that staring competition, like it happens as a hunter, and you have to be able to embrace it. You always come to love it. Like that's what separates you, right? If you're able to stare a deer down for 20 minutes and then harvest that animal, it's you're on another level, you know.
I got something for you, Al.
I can't
This
even.
guy right here. You know what that is.
Okay, that's your Maryland deer from last year.
Yeah. Look, I'm not a trophy hunter. I shoot little bucks too.
I don't discriminate. I've said that from day one. I don't discriminate. I will chase a mature buck every day of the week. But when that 8 point comes in, like I'm probably taking him, especially with the traditional archery equipment.
But yeah, you have to decide at some point what you're willing to do in order to put a lifetime buck on the wall, or in order to put a lifetime doe on the wall. You know. So how do you know which? Well,
Sorry,
that's what it is.
Walt joined. I had
Walt
to
just jumped on.
He did. Yeah.
You know, Walt, you're getting the worst part of this. You already missed everything.
Walt, hang on. Walt, you're gonna appreciate this because I know you're another trad guy. Hang on.
Yeah, Walt's gonna love this. You wait till he sees this. He's probably gonna send you a $7,000 super chat.
Hang on. You're gonna be way up. Oh boy, you are so far above me. Is that even gonna stay? It'll stay. That dog will hunt, baby. Walt, check it out. I made this bow. I just made it. I just finished it today. I just made her.
Toe Mater.
Dad, you almost done that.
Yeah. What are we gonna do?
Wait,
That dog will hunt, baby.
You can't see. Well, you want to go on Sprunkies?
Hi, Alfred.
Lando! What's up? What's up?
Then you can jump on Sprunkies if you want.
Oh, really?
Yeah, go ahead.
Did he talk to you about the new chair?
Yeah,
Dropping
Sprunkies.
stuff everywhere.
Go ahead, jump on there. You can throw that blanket on the floor because I just put it up there.
Why'd you put it up there? I thought you wanted to have it.
Well, I'm too hot over here, dude.
Yeah, that's what I've been working
Andy, Brad, listen
on.
up.
I broke. Andy, what's up? What's up? We got a couple of our regulars jumping on. Yeah, guys, I broke a couple bows in the process. This is my third attempt at a bow, and she's shooting pretty well. You know, I just stained and hit her with a layer of poly tonight. Um, she's great. She's somewhere in the like I want to say like mid 30 pound range. Um, but she's shooting great, so I can't complain. You know. I appreciate it, Walt. Thank you. Thank you. Andy, it's all good, brother. It's all good. We haven't been doing the lives pretty regularly.
We've been bums.
We haven't been bums. We've been hunting so hard it's not even funny. Did you source those deer heads ethically? Yeah, he took an arrow and he sourced them with his arrow.
I sourced them. Who said that?
Oh boy.
Baba. Yeah, we sourced them ethically.
To be fair, the deer thought it was quite the accomplishment to be up on Tony's wall. So they were like, just send it.
Yeah. Deer was like, yo, bro, how do I get on your wall, dude?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, just stand still for a second.
Yep. But yeah, so anyway, Tony, we've got 30 people on. Like I think at this point,
it's time to call it a day, man.
well, I mean, we've been on for I can't even math. We've been on for an hour and 45 minutes almost. Like it's been a minute. So damn, Chickanee's on too. Like, dude, we got a lot of Chickanini. We got a lot of our regulars just jumping on.
Chickanini, man, what's up? Yo, I gotta go back here for Chickanini.
Yeah, check it out, guys. For all the regulars. Tony's got his mounts back from this season.
Yeah, this one right here. And this one right here.
Chick a friggin' Nini.
Stick a
Love that.
frickin' name. How are ya?
That's how I'm going to address you from now on, actually.
Pick a friggin' name.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's getting there. We gotta put. I think next year we gotta put 2 more on the wall, or 3 more.
Realistically, like I'm already committed for West Virginia next year. You're committed for whatever states you're hunting. Like it's a viable option. Like I want to be at the point where I'm putting $3 on the wall. Next year, I don't know if I'm going to commit fully to traditional archery equipment. Like I would really love to have that buck 5 yards off the tree I'm in and be able to shoot it and know I just got a kill shot. Like we'll see. It's such a love-hate relationship. Like I don't know. It is what it is. Alaska, what is up, brother?
What? Alaska jumped on. Look at my mustache, Al.
Damn. Is
What?
that your broken bow?
Yeah, we're gonna get it fixed, bro.
You need to get that fixed.
See, Dad, I told you they could see us.
You know what? Tomorrow, I'm gonna order one. Hopefully, I can find one in blue. If I can't, I'm just gonna order it.
Are y'all selling sweatshirts? Andy, yes, there are sweatshirts available for sale. I will remind everybody all of our merch is available on bonfire.com. The link is probably tagged in this live. If you don't like the specific shirt that's tagged in the live, there are 2 shirts available, and there are sweatshirts available. That being said, we don't make much of anything from the sweatshirt or t-shirt sales. It's pretty much just about
all for
repping
you
our
guys.
brand.
What we do need to do, we need to make an updated shed crew shirt for this shed hunting season. Now we got to get a pile of sheds and take a picture of it, do an AI something or other, and put it on a shirt and send it out.
I agree with you.
Guys, what do you think? What do you think this shed measures? Real
That
quick.
brings a new meaning to shed crew, honestly. And if you had one of Alaska's moose like sheds, that would bring a really new meaning to it. What are
Yeah,
we
we gotta get
paying for a shoulder mount? Tony, do you want to address that question? I don't even. I feel weird answering that. I don't know why. I shouldn't feel weird answering that, but
I think we got a $75 discount for the military discount. It's either a $50 or $75 discount for the military. I paid $625 for this shoulder mount. And for this price, I got to show you what I got, right? Because I think this is absolutely stellar. Now you got to bear with me. Now this is a deer that is shot. What I shoot this? The 14th of September. Literally 2 days after it rubbed out of velvet, so you can still see all of the antlers because we didn't have them take any. But all of the here's the hair on a rut buck, and here's the hair on an early season. There's nothing. It's so short. It's so fine. You have all of the light early season guard hairs in there. Like this deer was just unbelievably well done. For $625. Look at the detail on the ears, guys. I mean, the ears are just perfect.
Dad.
And even in the back,
Dad.
like he's got this little swirl thingy going on, which is totally natural. What, buddy?
yeah, if you
And you can
poke a
see where
hole
it's
in that
pissed off.
hide early season, like there's no hiding it. That's for sure.
No, there's nothing.
But anyway, I know we've been trying to wrap it up here for the last 30 minutes.
Well, I
It's-
have 9% battery on my phone, so it's going here in a second. Either way.
yeah. Yeah, I think tonight was a great live. We'll be doing them a little more regularly now that the season's over, I think. We're gonna try and get on a schedule. I know you and I talked about this quite a bit. Did we miss Walt? Y'all are in the military. Yeah, Tony was in the military. He's now retired. I am still in the military. I say that and smile, but I don't like it. Mm,
All right, now let's bring it to a close here.
yep, we're at that point.
Yeah.
So, alrighty, guys.
Hey,
We
maybe
appreciate.
tomorrow I'll shoot,
20.
and you could be in your trophy room now.
Dad,
Sorry,
it's
say that
20.
again, Tony.
Maybe tomorrow I'll shoot, and you could be in your trophy room.
It would be a small trophy room. I'll have like one buck on the wall, and I have another one on the way. But either way, it is what it is. What a fucking dick. Sorry, I coughed there, guys.
I think you should put both of yours down here for a. Once you get your new one back from this year, we do a full paint train review. I got a spot we can hang them. Right here. Right here.
Damn.
What?
Nothing.
Look, I'll take this one out and I'll put it over there under the bows. You can put yours right there.
My buck from last year was bigger than the one I shot this year. Like that's
I know.
that's the unfortunate.
Anyway.
Like, and it's the unfortunate part is I sealed the deal. Like I worked my way in. I did everything I had to on a mature buck, and the only part I did not execute properly on was the shot, right? Like, and that is what it is. But we're not trying to go down that rabbit hole right now. I think we're trying to wrap this up.
Yeah, I'm gonna lose you. I got 4% battery, so it's
All right.
going.
Tony has an Android. The battery on them sucks, so we're gonna wrap it up here before he cannot say goodbye. I appreciate everybody hopping on tonight. We love you guys. Thank you so much.
Lee, we'll be in touch.
All righty. Peace out.
Later.
Oh.